What's going on, YouTube? This is SG1 Sports, and you're watching our SEC football channel. We continue with our roster previews for NCAA Football 21 here with the Texas A&M Aggies. NCAA Football 21, of course, is not a real game, but it's simply NCAA Football 14 with updated rosters for the 2020 college football season. If there was a new college football game, a new NCAA football game, that's what it will be called, NCAA Football 21. We continue to update these rosters, and if you want to help us get these rosters done faster, and if you want to get the rosters for yourself, join us on Patreon. Link is in the description of this video. The more people we have supporting us on Patreon, the more time and resources we will be able to put into these rosters, the faster we will be able to complete them. And also you can get some other things there as well, including Dynasty Files with the 2020 schedule coming very soon, playoff mod, other things for NCAA football. Just check it out, read all the things you get on Patreon. Follow the link again down in the description of this video. And just for $5 a month, you can get these updated rosters today. Before we get into the roster preview, just wanted to quickly tell you how all of you can help out with these rosters and help us to make them as accurate as possible. If there are number changes for players, if there are incorrect years that you see on this roster, please let us know. Some of these rosters we started doing back before even the spring rosters had been released, so some of the freshmen didn't have numbers yet, and we're just going to go back and do those later. Or maybe some players changed their numbers. Maybe a guy got redshirted last year and we missed that, and we've got him as a senior and actually they're a redshirt junior or something along those lines. So if you see any of that, you can help us out there. Also, players that are no longer on the roster, maybe players that transferred, that we had not taken off yet, you can remind us of those players, which of course I'm always checking the transfer portal. I'll come back and get that anyways, but it would just help out if something is put out there for us to make sure we don't miss it. A player that maybe has transferred, or a player that is not really expected to play much, not really on the too deep. If they're an upperclassman, we'll probably take those guys off the rosters and just tell us who you think they should be replaced with. Who do you think should be on this roster that is not? If it's a young player, a freshman, maybe they don't play, but they're still going to stay on the roster because you got to have those young players. The ratings are pretty much set though. We have a specific formula that we use that's based off of a bunch of different numbers, stats. We use NFL Draft Scout for 40 times. If a player's not on there, we use their recruiting rating. A lot of different things. I'm not going to get into all of that, but those are pretty much set. You can make suggestions if you think a guy should go up or down if you'd like, but they're probably not going to change, at least until the depth charts come out, because at that point we will make some adjustments. We're not going to have a backup running back rated higher than a starting running back. Obviously that would make no sense, so there could be a little bit of adjustments there. Also, when the all-conference, all-American teams are announced, we may tweak some players in those cases as well, but for the most part it's all based off of this formula. Heights and weights, don't worry about that. We will come back and we will get all of those when the fall rosters are released, because those numbers can change anyways. There's no point in trying to update that and then it changes again. So we'll knock that out once the fall rosters come out. But if you have any help here, if you guys follow your team closer than anyone. If this is your team, you probably know a little bit more about them than I do. And maybe you know some things that I just have missed or whatever. You can help us make these rosters as accurate as possible by giving us this information. I'll be constantly coming back and checking these comments. When I see something that jumps out, I'll make a note, and when I get back on that team, I will make the adjustments. And you will, again, have a chance to get these rosters, even if you don't join us on Patreon. Of course, if you join us on Patreon, you can get these rosters right now. You can get all the updates, and I really would encourage you to do that just to help us to kind of speed up this process with a little bit of funding. But if you can't, that's fine. We will probably, more than likely, we're going to release these rosters once they're complete. So it may be August or whatever, but we will give them out for free at some point. And also, you can just help us to make sure our simulations are as accurate as possible as we begin to ramp those up as well. But if you have any information here, please feel free to comment down below and give us any updates that we need to make. All right, here are the top players for the Texas A&M Aggies, and you can see some very talented players. But is there enough talent on this team for them to challenge Alabama and LSU and Auburn in the SEC West? Can this Texas A&M team realistically make a run at the SEC West? It's something that I thought was a very real possibility before we even got to this season. When we were in last season, I knew that they weren't going to do it last year, but I thought they had the potential this year. Had some guys that went pro early that I thought might have stayed and really given them a good shot to make a run. But still, it's a talented team. You see Anthony Hines at linebacker. He's their best player according to our ratings formula at 92. DeMarvin Lill on the defensive line, he's a 91. Javon Osmond, 90 overall wide receiver. You've also got Buddy Johnson at linebacker, who is very talented. He's a 90. Damani Richardson at safety at 90. Kenyon Green at right guard, 87. Tyree Johnson, 87. Leon O'Neal, 87. And then Kellen Mond, he's an 85. We thought that, last year he was going to take that next step. Didn't quite do it. Will he be able to do it this year? That's going to be a big question for Texas A&M. If he can do that, this team becomes very, very dangerous. And then you got Isaiah Spiller. He is an 85. I'm not sure why Kellen Mond does not show the year. That's weird. Doesn't show it there either. But I'm just curious about what it looks like on here. Actually, it's showing him as a freshman. So we'll have to get that fixed on the official roster. I believe he's a senior, right? So Kellen Mond, senior, and he is an 85 overall. There is James Foster, 73. Calzada, 71, and Connor Blumrick is a 67. Running back position, something that they took them really a long time last year to figure out. Finally, they figured out Isaiah Spiller is a very talented back. He's an 85. And then you got to do it all back. Honest Smith, he's an 83 with a 93 speed. And then you've got some youngsters there, 76, 73, and 72. Wide receivers, Osmond's going to be the guy. He's a 90 overall. But you've also got Hezekiah Jones. He's an 85. Freshman Dimas, he's an 83. Dylan Wright, redshirt freshman, 80. Muhammad, an 80. Another freshman that could contribute right away for them. 79 for Preston and Buckley. Brown, 77. Chapman, 72. And Price, 71. Tight ends. All right, we know with Jimbo Fisher, he likes to throw the ball to the tight ends. Jalen Wademeyer really emerged there. He's an 85. But don't forget about Baylor Cupp. He was one of the most talented tight end recruits that we had seen in some time. He was injured and didn't get really to play last year. So could he be a star this year potentially? Maybe he will, maybe he won't. It's tough to say right now, but based on his recruiting rating, he is an 80 overall. And then you got Glenn Beal also. Blake Smith, 71. So I think they're in pretty good shape at tight end. Dan Moore Jr., an 82, and left tackle Trainer, a 69. Left guard, Hucker, 80, Morris, 78, and Reed, a 74. At center, you got McCullum. He's an 81 overall. Jordan Jefferson, a 68. Right guard, Kenyon Green, an 87. Best offensive lineman on the team. And then Luke Matthews, a 72. Carson Green, not far behind him. He's an 85. And then Colton Blanton is a 76. Going to the defensive side of the ball now. DeMarvin Lill, a 91. He could potentially be a game changer for them on that defensive line. Michael Clemens is an 80. And then Diggs is a 76. You also got Tyree Johnson, 87. Max Wright, 75. And Jeremiah Martin, 73. Defensive tackle, Jaden Peavy is an 80. McKinley Jackson, an 80. Brown, an 80. Arias Jones, a 72. And Josh Rogers, a 68. Let's go to the linebackers now. And I'm assuming they're going to stick with the 4-2-5 defense. If that is not correct, you guys can let me know. And again, anything you see that's not accurate here, any changes that need to be made to the roster, please comment down below and let me know. We want to get these rosters as accurate as possible. Buddy Johnson is a 90, and we showed him earlier. Hansford, 79, and Keyshawn Brown, a 72. You got Hines, 92, again, the best player on the team according to our ratings formula. There's a freshman behind him, Donnell Harris, he's an 80, and Andre White Jr. is 78. Not a lot of linebackers on this roster. So that's interesting there. You got Elijah Blades and Miles Jones, a couple of cornerbacks that are both 83 overall. Devin Morris is 76, Eric Young 74, Brian George 73, and Joshua Moten a 72. Free safety Leon O'Neal Jr. 87, Carpus an 81, Brian Williams a 79, and Antonio Johnson 78. Strong safety Damani Richardson. He could be a big-time playmaker for them this year. He's a 90 overall. Jalen Jones, 82. Derek Tucker, 76. Okiki, 71. And Russell, 69. Kicker right now, Seth Molly's an 81, but keep in mind, as I've said on the other videos, we have not finalized the kickers and punters, the formula for them just yet. So you could expect to see his rating potentially go up a little bit, but 81's not bad. And then at punter, Constantino, maybe how you say his name, he's a true freshman. He's a 70 overall. Because he's a freshman, his rating actually may not change because he doesn't have any stats to base his rating off of. But yeah, he's a 70 overall. So again, you look at this Texas A&M team, there's really a lot of talent across the board. They're pretty good. I mean, they're pretty good at quarterback, pretty good at wide receiver, pretty good at running back. Offensive line, not bad. Defensive line, pretty strong. Linebackers, really talented. Secondary, pretty good. No big area of weakness for them. And if they can elevate their game just a little bit, if Kellen Mond can take that next step, like I said, I think this team has a real shot to compete for an SEC West championship this year. And as far as just our NCAA football rosters, they are a team that I think will be pretty good on this game. We'll see how they do in our simulations once we get those going. But again, if you have any information about this Texas A&M team, anything about the depth chart that looks different, or just any players that need correcting, please comment down below with all of that information, and we will get it corrected, and we will get these rosters as accurate as possible. And if you want to play with these rosters, just join us on Patreon. You'll get all the updates, and you can help us work on your team as well. If you have specific suggestions, want to go a little bit more in depth, we will talk with you about your team on there as well. But that's going to do it for this video. Thanks for watching, and stay tuned for more here on the SG1 Sports YouTube channel.